I would like to talk a little bit about how the WordPress search function works, and hopefully by doing this, we would take a look at how WordPress theming works and also how forms work in PHP. So now we're on the home page of this theme, the 2020 theme, and when I click on search, a modal opens and I can type in my search term. I press enter to trigger the search. And what you see here is that the routing has changed. So now in the URL, a query string has been appended to the home route. Also in the Chrome DevTools under Network, you can see that a request has been made. By clicking on the request, you can take a look at the headers. You can see that the request method is GET and the request URL is the same as the one we see in the URL bar. Right, so now let's take a look at how it looks like in the code. This is the code for 2020, and all WordPress themes have an index file. And under the first few lines, you will see a get header. Get header is a WordPress function that gets the header. Now, what is the header? This header is this whole block over here, including the name of the block and the description and our search box. Header file, if we scroll all the way down, we see that there is a function called getTemplatePart. Now, what is getTemplatePart? GetTemplatePart is a WordPress function that allows you to use bits of code in different files. So for example, getTemplatePart here calls TemplatePart modal search. So what I know here is that we are trying to put the search modal into the header. So now, why do we want to use getTemplatePart instead of just putting the modal search code right there? Well, maybe we want to use the search modal also in the footer or a sidebar. So that's when getTemplatePart comes in useful. So now let's go to the code for modal search. Now the modal search, what it gives you is the actual modal, as I said before. But one interesting thing is that here it says get search form. So now get search form. Get search form is a WordPress function that looks specifically for searchform.php. So this cannot be called something else. It can't be called search.php. It has to be called searchform.php. Look at searchform.php. So what's in searchform.php? We have a form element with the method get, with an action that points to our home URL. This was what we saw in our Chrome DevTools. The method get and the request URL, which pointed to our home URL appended with a query string. So what happens is that once you type in your search term and press enter, WordPress goes to the database and queries it for all posts that are relevant to the search term. For example, this one, hello world. It was the only post that it found relevant to the search term, and therefore it was the only post displayed. Back to index.php, we see in one of the first lines, there is a conditional tag is search. Now, what is a conditional tag? So you can go to the WordPress codex and it will tell you what conditional tags are. They can be used in your template files to alter the display of content. So in this case, we want to show a different view when we know that the user has entered a search term and there are posts that match the search query to be displayed. Other conditional tags, for example, can be is user logged in. So for example, if you know that the user is logged in, you might want to display the admin bar. So in this way, conditional tags can be used to change the look of the web page and add additional functionality. For example, for a little further down from is search, we see that there's an else if statement saying if it is not the home page. So if the user is not on the home page, we want to immediately assume that we are on an archives page, therefore get the archive title and get the archive description. So using a conditional tag, we can determine where the user is. Are they on a page where we're displaying their search results? Or are they on the home page, or are they on any other page apart from the home, for example, an archive page? And depending on that, we change the information displayed and also the template that is used to display the information. During the search bar, we have seen how triggering a search puts the information into the URL, causing a request to be made, a GET request, which was specified in the code. This then causes WordPress to query the database with the search term that you have made, and then for it to return the posts that match the search term. And here we have seen how the theme uses a conditional tag to see what page it's on. Is it on a search page, which we are in this case? Is it on an archive page? And so on and so forth, and to display the relevant post and also the way and style to display the post with.